Breaking today, the final traces of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the British royal family are being erased.
She knows that in 2027 she wants all eyes on her. She wants the royal family to be at the Invictus Games, and I think that for her that is crucial, because if we think about it, the Sussex's only real tangible value is their proximity to the royal family. So if she can kind of be the star of the Invictus Games in 2 years' time, that gives her another 5 years of press, of deals and money making. So it's all part of a grand plan, I think.
There is one date hanging over Prince Harry that could turn an already humiliating legal battle into something far more painful: August 28th. And behind that date is a figure that is almost impossible to ignore: £9,950,624.37. That is the precise amount reportedly being sought as an interim payment in the legal costs battle surrounding Harry's failed case. The judge has already determined that Harry will have to pay costs. What remains is the final amount. But while Harry waits for the court to reveal the damage, another storyline is developing around Invictus. Why did Meghan Markle withdraw from the Birmingham countdown event just days before she was expected to appear? Why did Prince Harry attend alone? And why did reports claim there was relief among some people connected with the event when Meghan did not turn up? The dates, the money and the silence are creating a story that is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore.
Now, this is a big problem. This is on top of Harry having lost his court case against the Daily Mail. You've got bankruptcy looming with a house that may just get blown into the sea. They can't afford that house. They're living beyond their means. They're ruined.
37 pence. That tiny figure attached to the end of a potentially enormous legal bill shows just how precise this financial battle has become. During the High Court proceedings, the publisher behind the Daily Mail sought an interim payment approaching £10 million from Prince Harry on an indemnity basis. Harry's legal team offered £8 million and accepted that a costs order would follow. But the judge reserved judgment on the precise figure. In other words, the decision about what Harry must ultimately pay has not yet been publicly revealed. And that is why August 28th suddenly matters so much. It is no longer just another date on the calendar. It could be the moment Prince Harry discovers the financial consequences of his legal war.
Harry has sued the Daily Mail for what he claims to have been unlawful information gathering 15 years ago. Well, it's been thrown out by the judge, and it's likely to cost Harry up to $10 million. It is money that he simply hasn't got.
Now place that legal deadline beside what happened in Birmingham on July 10th. The Invictus Games held their one-year countdown event, and Meghan Markle had originally been scheduled to attend. Then, just days before the appearance, she withdrew. Prince Harry arrived without her. He smiled, greeted people and carried on with the public responsibilities of the event. But reports from people connected with the event claimed that some backstage figures were actually relieved Meghan did not appear. That is a striking claim, and it should be treated as a report, not established fact. But if that reaction really happened, it raises a much bigger question. Has Invictus reached a point where the organization wants to be judged primarily on the veterans, the games, and the institution rather than the personal drama surrounding the Sussexes? And the Invictus questions arrive at almost exactly the same time as Harry's legal problems. Within months, the charity founded by Harry in memory of his mother had become surrounded by disputes, fundraising questions and scrutiny over its public image. There was also growing speculation about the future of Harry and Meghan's relationship, although such reports remain unconfirmed. One extraordinary week appeared to bring multiple stories together. And sitting directly in the middle of the legal story was August 28th. The biggest question, therefore, may not simply be whether Prince Harry can afford the legal bill. It may be whether the structure surrounding Harry and Meghan is beginning to move in two different directions. Invictus has an institutional future that can continue regardless of who appears beside Harry. Meanwhile, Harry is waiting to learn exactly what his legal battle has cost him. And he is not the only claimant involved. 6 other people joined him in the case, meaning the eventual costs order could have consequences far beyond Harry alone. The Royal Courts of Justice heard the costs arguments at the end of July. And Mr. Justice Nicklin reserved judgment. That sounds like routine legal language. But the practical meaning is significant. The court has yet to publicly reveal the final figure Harry will be ordered to pay. Permission to appeal was also deferred until after the costs position was determined. So the financial consequences come first. The next legal fight comes afterward. Then came the eye-watering numbers. The publishers sought an interim payment of approximately £9.95 million on an indemnity basis. Harry's team offered £8 million. The wider costs discussed in court were reportedly around £34.5 million, while the case had significantly exceeded its approved budget. Harry's barrister, Nicholas Bacon KC, reportedly described the figure as eye-watering and astonishingly high. At that point, this was no longer merely a celebrity privacy dispute. It had become a massive financial battle. And there was another complication. After the verdict, Harry described the ruling as a complete and obvious whitewash. The publisher's barrister later brought that statement back into court, arguing that the language was inappropriate and unreasonable when costs were being considered. That detail matters. Because statements made outside the courtroom can sometimes return inside it. And Harry was not the only claimant. He was claimant number 6 of 7, alongside Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Sir Elton John, David Furnish, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost and Sir Simon Hughes. The claims were dismissed, with 97 allegations rejected in the judgment delivered on July 7. Now the question becomes brutally straightforward. Who ultimately carries the financial burden? How much will Harry personally have to pay? Will insurance cover any portion? And what impact could the final figure have on his finances? Those questions remain unanswered until the court determines the precise costs position. And while that legal storm approaches, another story is developing around Invictus. The irony is difficult to miss. Go back to 2014. Invictus began with significant institutional support, including funding connected to a royal charity established for wounded servicemen and money associated with government-released bank fines. More than a decade later, government backing remains part of the financial structure surrounding the Birmingham Games. Harry has repeatedly described Invictus as one of the defining achievements of his life. But that creates an important distinction. Harry may be the most recognizable face associated with Invictus. The institution itself, however, has its own leadership, operations, and financial structures. And that distinction matters. Because the veterans remain at the center of the Games, while questions about spending, fundraising and governance continue to attract scrutiny. Then there is the commercial side. Harry traveled thousands of miles to Britain this summer while efforts continued to secure funding and partnerships for Birmingham 2027. Reports placed commercial sponsorship at roughly £4 million from around 11 sponsors, alongside substantial government support. Then the financial accounts add another layer. Reportedly, foundation income increased by around 41% and cash reserves reached approximately £2.3 million. At the same time, money reaching veterans organisations reportedly fell from £534,000 to £200,000, a decline of about 63%. That does not automatically establish wrongdoing. But it explains why financial scrutiny becomes more intense. Reports have also raised questions about redacted documents and transparency. And when an organization connected to wounded veterans faces unanswered questions about how money is allocated, every missing detail attracts attention. Then Harry's legal costs come roaring back into the story. The publishers sought almost £10 million immediately. Harry's side offered £8 million. The wider costs figure being discussed was potentially enormous. 7 claimants entered the legal battle. 97 allegations were rejected. And the court made clear that Harry would be responsible for a sum still to be confirmed. That is the sentence that changes the entire picture. Because while Harry waits for the final number, other parts of the wider Sussex business landscape are also facing challenges. Centabale has been involved in its own dispute. The Netflix relationship has reportedly shifted from a traditional deal toward a first-look arrangement. And the commercial model that once appeared extremely powerful now depends heavily on securing the next successful project, contract, or opportunity. Then comes one of the most interesting comparisons. A future that does not depend entirely on him. The Birmingham Games are scheduled for 2027, with competitors and spectators expected from around the world. The institution has a path forward. The bigger question is whether the same can be said about the Sussex model. If Harry continues rebuilding his relationship with Britain, perhaps his public approval rises further. Perhaps the royal connection opens doors that the Sussex brand struggled to open. Perhaps Invictus becomes easier to fund when the focus remains on the Games and the veterans rather than the personal controversies surrounding its famous founder. But if Meghan remains outside that picture, the implication becomes uncomfortable. For years, The Sussex story has been built around the idea that Harry and Meghan were stronger together. Now the dates, the institutions, and the public numbers appear to be raising another possibility. What if Harry's potential road back to Britain is a road Meghan cannot follow? And when the court finally reveals the figure on August 28, the world may learn more than just what Prince Harry owes. It may also reveal how much of the Sussex empire still depends on the two of them standing together.